Welcome, everybody. Again, David Snedeker with eTakeoff. We have also been partnered with 4Clicks for many, many years. I think 5, 6, 7 years at least. We are a company that delivers the takeoff tool, the visual part of this, which is loading drawings into a product, being able to measure directly on top of the drawing on your screen, and getting the quantities that you need, and then deliver those quantities into 4Clicks. Now, we do have some really, really nice features in the program. We're going to go through a couple slides here, and then we'll do an actual demo to show you some of the things we looked at in the slide. So we have a function called pattern search, which is for anyone that's doing like electrical or trying to count any kind of a device. The search program actually finds the pattern or symbol for you, highlights it, and allows you to automatically count it at that point, and we'll show you that. We actually trace. We call it a trace. It's like coloring, on your paper plans, where you measure and with a ruler and write that down, and then trace back over that with a color of some kind to visually represent that you took that off. We do the same thing as you're pointing and clicking. So tracing on the drawings gives you different colors, gives you different symbols, so that you know you've done it, and it quantifies it as you do it as well. A measurement can be actually the trace is actually a property of a measurement. One of those properties are color. So length measurements for walls, for example, can have all sorts of different line types, weights, colors, thicknesses. All of that can be done. A square foot measurement for maybe carpet or some kind of flooring, have different hatch patterns, have different, solid colors, transparencies, everything. So you can actually get things exactly the way you want it with the color and the visual that you need in order to, look at the drawing and potentially print that out maybe if you need to and send it to the field. Everything that you do in the program, every measurement you take can be totaled and combined by type. So if I've got a certain type of carpet or a certain type of wall type I'm measuring, those can all be totaled up at the end and then transferred into 4Clicks to get your quantities and get your labor, material, and all that stuff handled. Okay, next slide, please. There you go. Extensions. These are the three things we're going to cover here real quick in the slides, excuse me, and then we'll do a quick demo of each of these. So extensions actually extend a two-dimensional measurement. So on a drawing, you can only measure two-dimensional, like length or count or square feet, but if you need extensions from there, meaning let's say I measured square foot of carpet, I need to extend that to maybe square yards. We can do that with an extension. Or let's say you took off a wall. I get the length, but I want to be able to get the height and so on and so forth. An extension would allow you to enter the height of that wall, to get the square foot of the wall surface, to get a number of sheets of drywall or number of gallons of paint or whatever. So extensions really help to make this more powerful by taking standard measurements and extending them out and getting all sorts of different quantities with that. Quantity worksheet is a place where we do assemblies and totals. So as I'm taking off that wall, for example, I'm going to measure that wall, and as I measure the wall and put in the height, it's going to calculate and put into our quantity worksheet all the different things you need. So it'll calculate, like I said, the wall length, number of studs, what length of each stud, what gauge the studs are, how many sheets of drywall, what kind of insulation, so on and so forth. So that quantity worksheet accumulates and assembles all of those different pieces and parts as you're taking a measurement, making it much more simple to, get multiple quantities out of single measurements. And then again, pattern search we talked about a minute ago, which is a auto counting kind of feature where you search for a specific pattern on the drawing. So let's move to the next one. We're going to go right into the software design. Okay, so you're going to have to give me the control here. So if you give me control, I will turn it up and show you eTakeoff, and we'll do some special. All right, share my screen. Hang on while I choose my monitor here. Yeah, let's do that. Monitor 2. Okay, great. Now, you should all be able to see eTakeoff here. Okay, so we got a standard floor plan. Let's just talk about some simple measuring, and then we'll talk about some extended measuring. So for example, I could say I want to build, let me go do a wall, for example. Maybe I want to frame a wall. So I could just simply take the length of that, hold on, let me change that, and measure it. So I'm going to measure, and I'm going to point and click, and I'm going to use this length measurement called 2x4 wall. I can just simplistically click along, and I can do it like this. I could zoom in by rolling my scroll wheel, and I could zoom in really accurately if I wanted to. Now I've got the length of that wall. Well, that's just basic length. What if I need more? What if I want studs? Well, let's go change this, and we're going to select this and say we want to assign that to this. So now I just changed it to the one that has studs. Here's my extension. It automatically calculates the length and then number of studs based on my on-center distance, which is changeable. I can type that in. If I have extra studs I want to add, maybe corners, doors, windows, I can add extra. Let's say there's 10 extra. Then my total count is 43. So I've got the length of the wall and how many studs I can use, how many I need. All sorts of stuff. This is an extension which can be built by the user to extend as many different types of measurements as you want to, and you can get really crazy with this. For example, an extension can be, let's do this. We're going to assign that right there. Now, let's check this extension out. This is a crazy extension. On center distance, I want to put drywall on both sides of that wall. I want a special type of drywall for this wall, insulation, size of stud, stud gauge. So you can create these crazy, I call them crazy because there's so much information in here, it is crazy. But I can measure all this, choose some data inputs, and tell the program what I'm doing. And when I'm all done, I'm going to show you the quantity worksheet, which will be tracking all of this that I'm doing. So bear with me while I do this quickly because I don't want to take up too much time here, but I want you to see how this all comes together. And then again, oh, sorry, wasn't finished. Oh, sorry. I'm not going to continue that, but what I'm going to do is show you where all that information goes. Goes into what we call our quantity worksheet. So that was wall type B, for example. As I took that measurement and I fill out that information, everything gets calculated based on, here's the same things we saw in the drop-down. So I fill in the drop-down list, and it populates how much insulation is there. And drywall, and insulation, and how many studs of what type, and what gauge, and then what kind of track, so on and so forth. So as you fill out those extensions, on the screen as you take a measurement, you can fill in the quantity worksheet automatically and get complete project totals here. That's basically what this is for. Capturing information from the measurement you take on the drawing and then totaling everything up. Now, I could do something else like, let's say I want to measure some carpet, okay? And I have a simple extension here, which is allowing me to measure the square foot of the carpet, get my color on the carpet, and then over here in my extension I can enter how many doors, so I can take the perimeter of that measurement, subtract one door, and then it'll tell me I have rubber base and how much my rubber base is. So that's another simple kind of an extension. Very nice, very easy to use. Okay, that's extensions. That's measuring. Very simple. Colors, patterns, everything you want. Everything is saved automatically for you on the drawing as you go. If I had to close this project out and just close eTakeoff and go out into the field when I come back, everything's saved automatically. There's no save button that works, nothing, because it's automatic for you, saved directly into the program. Let's go change projects real quick, and we'll talk about that pattern search function. Here's an electrical drawing. Let's say I need to find, smoke detectors, heat, smoke, auxiliaries, whatever. Typically, when you're going to do this, you got to zoom in and you got to, get into some corner here like this, and then I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to count those, and I'm going to find where they are. There's a smoke alarm, and you got to look all over, and you got to do it multiple times. It becomes very tedious, even in an electronic program like this. So what we've built is the ability to search automatically on the drawing for a specific symbol or pattern. So I'm going to roll my scroll wheel, zoom way in for this fire smoke alarm, okay? I'm going to tell the program I'm going to search for that by dragging a box around it, and then it says, okay, you're going to search for this. what's your search results percentage? Meaning, 80. I want to find everything that matches this at 80% or greater quality, okay? And I can tell it, if I have a rotation, I can tell it to rotate, or I can exclude things that I've already previously counted. So I'm just going to go ahead with that. And I'm going to tell it to search. It's going to look on the drawing. It's going to give me a review window of everything it found. So I can simply double-click on them to find them, and it'll take me right to the ones that it found. I could also review this on the drawing. So let's go ahead and say Review on Drawing. I'm going to zoom out, and then it'll show me where it found everything. Greens are actual matched 90% or greater. The brown or red said it didn't match 90% or greater, and I'll show you that in a second. But so you have two ways to view. If this doesn't match, you double-click it and you unselect it. I prefer the window myself because I can actually take this window and put it on another monitor if I want. So now, the greens are selected. The whites are not selected. So this is a heat, and these are smokes. But now I've got a little extra feature I wanted to show you, which is this drawing happens to have what's called an auxiliary, which has an S and then it has an A next to it. Well, I can't see it based on this. But what I could do is just drag out the view on this one. Oh, there's my auxiliary. So I'm not going to select that to be counted. So these are all my smokes. This is a heat, and this is an auxiliary. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here to my worksheet items. I'm going to say, okay, these are smoke alarms. Boom, I'm going to save them. And then they'll disappear, and then I still have my search. Here's my auxiliary. Choose auxiliary. Go ahead and save and continue. That disappears. Here's my heat. Say heat, and save, and done. And they're all counted. They're different colors. They're even in my worksheet that we talked about. Here's a worksheet for my heats, my smokes, and my auxiliaries. Each one needs a base, so it counts the exact same number of base in a formula, and each one needs 4 screws, so it automatically calculates that in a little assembly here. So very, very quickly, you can search, find, count, and have assembled everything you need. All right. That is pattern search, and a very quick overview of some of the things in eTakeoff. So that's my section. I will pass it along to, who's next? Nick, are you next?
Yep, I'm next. I just gained control real quick.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope that gives you an idea of what we can do for you in the takeoff section.
Great. Thank you very much, Bob and David. So good afternoon or morning to everyone. My name is Nick Zalakis, and I am the account executive for 4Clicks Solutions. So I'm going to give you a look at just a few of the many powerful features of our E4Clicks Project Estimator software. But to begin, a little bit about our company. We were founded in 2001. Our team's experience with facility renovation, repair, and construction includes serving as cost estimators, engineers, and project managers. That's how we arrived at our tagline, by estimators for estimators. So 4Clicks has experience serving over 85% of U.S. Air Force bases. As you will note from this sheet, we also serve other DoD and non-DoD federal departments. This includes the Army, Army Corps of Engineers, GSA, and VA, and of course their supporting contractors and AEs. As you'll note from the bottom of the sheet, through RSMeans, our strategic business partner, our technology is used in JOC programs in education, state, county, local government, and airports. So what I'm going to do now is share my desktop and open for you Project Estimator. I'm going to build a real simple estimate for you as a way to best demonstrate some of the amazing features of our product. Before I begin, I'd like to note that owners can manage multiple contracts as well as your contractors, projects, and estimates. You can also track milestones from concept through the warranty period. Contractors, too, can manage multiple projects, estimates, and coefficients. So, in a project that has multiple disciplines, such as concrete, structural, finishes, and flooring, you can have multiple estimators working together in our program harmoniously. Also, what's really great in our software is that we allow you to copy, paste, and update. Now, this allows you to save a significant amount of time because there's no need for estimators who run similar projects to have to reproduce a similar estimate over and over. So what I'm going to do for you is begin with a simple project and I am going to choose SABER, standard hours, and beginning I'm going to input a project number that makes sense to me, something like PROJ 2012. The project that I'm going to do is a remodel of an office room. So I'm just going to put in the dimensions for my own use and just write conference room. Now, once we have this project built, anyone who is logged into the system can immediately start helping me. So I'm going to open up this project by double-clicking on it and come to what's called the 2012 RSMeans Facility Guide. However, based on your requirements, we can provide you with a gamut of RSMeans cost data, your IDIQs, GSA schedules, as well as your own pricing. Again, for this demonstration, I'm going to use the Facilities Guide. So when you open up Facilities, for anyone who has never used an RSMeans electronic software package, but you use the books, most people come to what's called the index. Now, the index is what's found in the back of the book. What's great about it is by clicking on this icon, I can snap to my index and type directly into our locate field items that we're looking for. Now, the first item for this demonstration that I need is a dumpster. So I'm simply going to type in DUMPS and snap to a dumpster in my guide. Now, if I'm reviewing my drawing and realize that I need a 10 cubic yard dumpster, I can double-click on that item, input my quantity. This job's going to take a week. I'll put in a week and submit OK to place it in the estimate. Now, I'm going to get rid of some carpet and coat base and be able to use some final cleaning. I'm going to have about 9, 10, or 11 tasks. But first, what I need to do is haul out the debris that's in my room to my dumpster. So I'm just scrolling through the RSMeans guide, finding my loading and hauling, double-click, fill in if I'm going to fill that dumpster. In this case, I probably will, so I'm going to put in 10 cubic yards. Excellent. So now some people who use RSMeans a lot understand what's called the CSI sections. For such users, you can type into this locate field, 09, and come to the Maintenance of Finishes division in the RSMeans guidebook. Now, the reason why I did this is because if you're familiar with RSMeans, you'll know that they place the demo line items at the beginning of each section. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the CSI codes, you can come to what's called the Guide Navigator and drill down very specifically by division. Excellent. So I'm going to come through my RSMeans guide and look for my demo of carpeting. And what I'm going to show you now is how I can tag multiple line items within my Project Estimator and input them into my estimate while adjusting for proper dimensions and quantities at one time. So if I find my demo line item for carpet, I'm simply going to tag that line item, scroll down, find my vinyl and coat base, snap back to my index, search for some new nylon carpet, just rolling through my estimate, finding that I need for my drawing a 26-ounce carpet, so I'll tag that line item. Now, you'll notice here, RSMeans does a great job at coming up with what you would normally expect to install. We offer what you call modifiers. Now, modifier adds to the value of that particular line item or takes away from it. As you'll notice from this screen, there's a modifier positioned right below this particular line item that says that for less than a full roll, approximately 1,500 square feet, you should add this line item. Modifier. And why? Because you can't go to Home Depot or Lowe's or a carpet manufacturer and buy 400 square feet of carpet for the same price that somebody can buy a full roll. So I'm simply going to tag my appropriate modifiers. If I want to add an additional cost for borders and patterns, as well as brand name specific fiber, I can do that. I can snap back to my index, search for my code base, get my code base as well as my code base corners. Now the last item that I'm going to search for is my final cleaning. Now as you'll note, final cleaning can be done in two ways. It can be done at the end of each day or at the end of the job. But what I really want you to note about this is that it has a unit of measure of MSF. Again, I forgot to mention this earlier, but on each line item, you can review on the bottom of our page a full description of that line item, as well as the details such as crew, what the daily output is, laborer hours, unit, material, and equipment. So I'm going to tag this line item. Now this is a neat feature. It allows us to adjust for proper dimensions and quantities at the same time. Now if you notice the takeoff field right here, I can put in my takeoff like I would in Microsoft Excel for square feet, and what you'll see when I hit process is that it will convert that takeoff into MSF and square yards. Neat little tip, it might help you save a little bit of time. Linear feet, again, like Microsoft Excel, 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20. Simply hit process. Last is each. If I remember what I was doing with this estimate, I'll know that those are my code-based corners. So I'll hit 4 and process. Excellent. Now I'm going to save this estimate and show you how we can report on it. So I'm going to come down to Report, go to Print Estimate, and show you an estimate detailed report. Now, as you'll note, we can go to Microsoft Excel and Adobe PDF. For this particular example, I'm going to go to PDF. Now, printing my report, and let me drag this over to the proper screen. And you'll see that we have a printed report complete with division breakdown, as well as totaling components, material, labor, and equipment total. As you can note, we also track green line items. Scroll down, you'll see the estimate broken down by line item, including the equation we used, the crew, which is the laborers that RSMeans assigns to a particular line item, as well as the full details and totals. Now, if we scroll through our estimate, you'll see something that's very cool, which is the specifications list. Now, this list is the construction specifications that are linked to the particular line items that I selected. One better than that, if we go back into reports and print estimate, we can pull together a complete specs package and go to either Adobe PDF or Microsoft Excel. Let's open that file. And in this window, you'll see that we have the construction specs for environmental protection. It says that we're going to be doing some demolition, some vinyl base, and some carpeting. So if we can scroll through this, you'll see our complete specs package. Now, just a few minutes, I was able to build a very simple estimate and detail just a few of the many features of E4Clicks. Now, so as to not overwhelm you, I'm going to pass the baton over to Tom Cassidy, who will bring you into a little bit on the eTakeoff side before we end today's session with questions. Tom?
All right. Thanks, Nick. While Nick's passing the baton to me, I just want to thank everybody for being here, and obviously thanking all the people, just the team that we've kind of put together. I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's some pretty good heavy hitters here. We've got Bob with RSMeans, industry-leading RSMeans there, and we've got David Snedeker, just a stud in eTakeoff, man. If that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. But I'm kind of here to bring it all together and kind of show you how we're taking E4Clicks, putting it together with RSMeans and eTakeoff just to make you as efficient as possible. All right? So I'm going to show a couple of tools that you may not quite get, but we're not here to focus on those, but we've got definitely a user manual and videos that you can look at, different things to get that information. So if you don't quite catch everything I do, don't worry about that. We can fill you in and get you up to speed on some of that at a different time. But I want to focus on using eTakeoff basically to figure out our quantities, all right? So I'm going to kind of take off from where Nick left off, and I'm not as cool as him, so I got to use a drawing to figure out my measurements. So I'm just going to make a quick copy of this Renovate Classroom. We did 20 by 20 or whatever, And this time I'm going to renovate the hallways. Now I'm going to clear out everything that we had in there as far as quantity notes, takeoff, all that kind of good stuff. So I just have just a blank sheet canvas here that I can work with. So I've got all of my quantities set now at 0. All right? So and I'll try to go slow enough that everyone's video will be able to keep up. But I'm going to go here and I'm going to use our query tool to get all my square foot line items. So as Nick just found out, all of our square foots are going to be the same. So we've got some cleanup, some demo, and some new carpeting here. Now instead of going out and finding my perfectly square room or whatever, I'm going to just do a batch modification, and I'm going to use eTakeoff to go and find my quantity. So I'm going to open up the right project that I want. We're going to do the training class here. And if you can see this green area here, Nick just did a nice little 20 by 20 room. I'm going to go ahead and get this carpet and cove base corners and stuff for this hallway. All right? So I'm going to delete that measurement real quick so we can measure it again. If we were measuring this with a ruler or a scale, we'd have to get it out and make a bunch of rectangles and add all that up, and I'd mess up the equation likely. So I'm going to click in here, and I'm just going to go measure around the room. Now, I won't be as cool and slick as David because he's pretty awesome, and I won't be perfectly fast, but we could click and hold and get real close and do all that kind of good stuff. But I'm going to go kind of fast and just do this so you can kind of see it. But hopefully, I will come out much more accurate than I would have if I would have actually got a piece of paper out and did the ruler and did the multiple rectangles or tried to figure out the formula and all that kind of good stuff. And then we're going to see some benefits beyond that in a second. But I kind of just traced around here. What I'm going to do here now is just right-click on that measurement and go back to E4Clicks here. And for my quantity, I'm going to pull in one of those measurements that came from eTakeoff. Now, David showed us that we were catching more than just the area when we measure. We were also getting perimeter and points and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm going to grab the area this time. When I click on Process, we're going to get a little preview window. So I'm going to go from 0 to our new quantity here. So let's apply that, and we can see that that got applied. And it also kept all of the different conversions, so we can see that the 1,000 square feet got converted correctly, as well as the square yards got converted correctly. So I'm going to go back to the query here real quick. Instead of square foot, I'm going to look for, oops, I missed it, linear foot. So this will be the cove-based corners, right? And just to show you what I'm doing here, I'm just going to quickly go through this list using that query. So I'll just pull this down again real quick, tag those two, do my batch modification again, and because I actually have those same quantities that I wanted, I'm just going to reload it and go ahead and choose the perimeter this time instead of the area. So I'm going to process, preview, and apply, and I'll clear these again, and I'll clear this whole locate so you can see what I'm doing. And we can see the ones we haven't touched that have the little clipboards. So I'm going to go get these two, which are the eaches, which are going to be the cove-based corners. I'm going to go back to Control-M or Batch Modify. I'm going to load it one more time. I'm going to pop in the 18 cove-based corners, process, preview, and apply. And that quickly, I've taken that one measurement from eTakeoff and applied it to all of the line items that I wanted. Now I can go figure out the weeks and the cubic yards if I wanted to. But I want to show you one more cool thing. I'm going to go back over here to eTakeoff, and I'm going to switch jobs just to look cool here a little bit. And I'm going to kill it completely. And if we see one of these little E's next to our line item, we can open it up. I'm just going to right-click in the quantity. My eTakeoff lets me drill down to that quantity. Since I don't have a formula here, I can go and see where that actual quantity came from. So when I do that, it's going to open up eTakeoff, open up the correct project to the correct drawing, and highlight the measurement that I've got there. All right? So I wasn't near as cool as David, but hopefully that kind of shows you the kind of speed and efficiency that we can help you get. All right? How was that, Nick? You good?
That was perfect. Thank you very much, Tom.
All right. I'll hand it back to you then.
Excellent. So I would like to end today's session with any questions that the audience might have. And also I'd like to thank you all for taking the opportunity to sit down with us so we were able to detail in specific a little bit about what we do. So to begin, does anybody have any questions for either of us? Tom, I believe we just got a question from the audience from you that was typed in, which is, can we add custom line items to our database or custom cost data, a set of custom cost data?
All right, that's a great question. In fact, I'm doing a spotlight later today where we're going to highlight how to handle custom line items and alternate line items. But yeah, you can customize anything. You can input any kind of a line item that you want to. You can even take RSMeans and customize a line item if you want to. Start with all of their efforts and just jump off from there. We can also load up, a lot of people have custom guides or custom spreadsheets or stuff. We can, for like IDIQs is a good example, but we can take those and put them into the software, and those can actually work just like a RSMeans guide where it's locked down and you can tell if it's contractually accurate and all that kind of good stuff. Good question. Does that answer the question?
Yes. Yes, I believe it did. Does anybody else have any questions? Great. Just so you know, for training, we offer a 1-hour demonstration of our software features, a tutorial on getting started to using the 4Clicks Project Estimator that is provided to all demo users. And we do offer a 30-day evaluation of our Project Estimator, complete with RSMeans cost data. We also offer virtual training, regional training, and on-site training. So unless there are any further questions, I would like to end today's session and just say thank you to everybody who joined us today, and we hope to hear from you in the future.
Thanks, guys.